تهب لك الحياة. اطلب الموت تهب لك الحياة.
Right, y'all, welcome back to Come to Arms channel. Okay, so like we used to do on the channel a while back when we were just getting sent a lot of crazy stuff, we tended to react to some things that were a little bit surprising, not necessarily kind of like military forces conducting training in like the best possible way or with any sort of level of like organization or competency. So it kind of ended up me just like talking smack, for lack of a better term. And those were like very kind of unprecedented. I didn't actually like click through the videos that much. So it was a little bit shocking. This one, however, I did click through. It's not very long. It's only 3.5 minutes. I did click through, and some of the stuff that I'm seeing, most of the stuff that I'm seeing is just mind boggling. So again, I'm not coming into this with the perception that like the US military is like the end all be all, because obviously that's not the case, especially with like a lot of different applications. But there are definitely certain things that I can say working in the Marine infantry, the Army infantry, and, you know, continuing to serve in the military. There's certain things that I can see where I'm like, what is the purpose of that? Or like whatever they're doing right here has no sort of tactical backing at all. A lot of it's kind of just flashy. It's trying to look cool. And I don't feel bad kind of talking smack on that. I will say I don't know how old this footage is, and it is from Algeria, so I don't necessarily know what kind of like budget they get with like their equipment or just kind of like training or the personnel in general. So the mindset and the motivation just might not be there, but this is the 104th Operational Maneuvers Regiment. So it's like a Algerian Special Forces unit, which it looks like they have a few different kind of like sections, but I guess this is more of like their urban section, the urban company or what have you. Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. So we're gonna check it out. Again, it's 3.5 minutes, but I will be pausing it pretty often, I think, just from what I've seen. So that's my kind of warning to y'all. I'll try and let it play through a little bit and then backtrack, because yeah, you're going to be probably picking up on a lot of things that I am as well. But again, we'll kind of use this as a learning opportunity, I think. So let's do it. Now it is a demonstration, so it is meant to be kind of flashy. But brother, you know this is going to be going to like your training partners as like a demonstration of your capabilities. It's like, get everything we have and bring it to this demo. It doesn't need to make sense, just bring it. I don't know what the announcer is saying, but I mean, he sounds like a pretty good hype man. I'm telling you, they're like, we have all these capabilities, what do you want to see? Yes. Send it all. I don't want this building to be usable at all. Which, like, okay, so I can kind of see, it looks like this is a shipping container. Probably just like 3 shipping containers stacked on top of each other. I was like wondering, because I'm looking around, I'm like, these look like actual houses. Like this could be an actual neighborhood. So what's going on here? Interesting little sub gun. It looks like a pistol just in like one of those frames. Okay, interesting. I see more and more as I watch this. It gets more cursed as you watch it. I wish I could interview one of the dudes who took part in this and like, did y'all try and advise him on anything specific? And if so, like, what happened with that? Like, sir, none of this makes any sense. Yeah, it's okay. We're just trying to get some funding. Understandable if that's how that discussion went. I really want to know what he's saying. What happened? Oh my god, they might have had some copyrighted music. um, I want to see how long this is going for. Okay, I might just add my own music just so it's not totally like dead here. Okay, very smoky. Oh my gosh. I don't know what the people in there did, but they might as well have just like dropped a bomb through the ceiling. Cause bro, or just like level the building. Just do a controlled demolition. Dude's like, yeah, this AK is getting a little heavy. We're almost out of view though. He's just like, huh? I can't breathe. It's too smoky. Yeah, so yeah, it looks like some shipping containers. Golly. So yeah, I guess this was COVID time. So this was uploaded in 2021, so I guess this was actually pretty recent then. Maybe it was actually recorded around the same time. Okay. Okay, so we got a Humvee, up-armored Humvee. Okay, I mean, whatever, works. Then we have this, it looks like almost like a Ford truck. Like a Ford, I don't know, like a, just like some Ford with some breaching gear. This dude, I don't know, he is flying towards the building. But then we already have some people who are on the roof. I'm curious how, so he's climbing a ladder. What happened here to where these guys are like, okay, like, we're gonna set up kind of like a cordon, except we're gonna go on the roof before any of that happens. And also, like, bro, they're just climbing a ladder, like on the back end. And then he's holding with a pistol, which, like, cool. When you're going up a ladder, pistol is like great, especially like right as you get across the threshold of the top of the roof, you can kind of condense your body and then pop up with a pistol and clear out the roof. But at this point, like, put that sucker away, get that rifle out. Okay, and then these guys, so they basically park immediately and just start laying waste to, I mean, again, it's all theoretical, but they're just like, or not theoretical. It's all notional. I mean, I guess too, sure. But yeah, they're just laying waste. There's no discretion. There are no rules of engagement. They are just sending it. And then you have these guys where it's like, okay, you got a ballistic shield that rolls. Pretty cool. I mean, a lot of agencies don't have that. However, you only have one person behind it. So it's like, what exactly are you trying to do? Generally speaking, you'll use like a ballistic shield to cover like a stack as they're approaching. And then that stack will kind of be used for your foothold inside the building. But you just got one guy going up with a shield. Like, what exactly is he going to do once you get near the house? Because you're still going to need more people. And then also, it's like a pretty high building. So, are these people? It's a pretty high building. So, the shield isn't really covering anything. It's not tall enough to really even cover like any of y'all, especially when you're talking about plunging fire. I mean, you know, if you're going to try and shoot. But then you have this dude, Rambo, over here, who is just aggressively, again, he's just like, wherever there might be somebody, I'm just going to like, you know, spray and pray. While these guys, and this is the weirdest part of it all. Okay, so I think he picked up at least one guy for this shield, who's turning around, which is what you do kind of if you don't have a cordon set up. It's nice to have a rear security kind of facing, you know, backwards in case somebody is presenting themselves as a threat from a different building. But everybody is so tunnel vision on this one building. Like, I would imagine that, you know, you don't really need to focus on the outside so much. Or like, even if there was somebody pointed outward or pointing inward towards them, this one dude isn't going to do a whole lot to protect them. This I don't get. I don't know what this thing is. I mean, I guess if you had like a really high wall or something, it'd be cool to kind of like, you know, just get guys over it. But I mean, you could just step over this wall. You can literally just like take a little leap. You don't even need to leap. You could probably just step over it. But they're just deciding to fast rope, which is interesting. And this thing's kind of janky. I mean, it's shaking a lot. Like, I'm not sure I'd even trust it to support my weight. I mean, look at that. Okay, we got some seagulls in the background. They're like, yo, what's going on here? It's pretty hype. And then this dude, okay, dropping in pretty good. He's got a rope bag as well, which like it's not something that you see a lot with, you know, a lot of people who are kind of like rappelling, but he's also like, I think he did like a tie off there so he can kind of break himself. Looks like he might even have a device to do it. And then he's kind of getting his pistol out, which if you're going to be doing something like this, ideally you can kind of have something to kind of break yourself with your non-dominant hand so you can have your pistol already out. But this dude's kind of fumbling for it. And once you're kind of already by the open window, I mean, it might not be open, but once you're already kind of by that window, you want to have someone covering on it, because you might just be getting lit up by the time you get near it. Okay, and then, you know, we have a ladder. I mean, we had people come onto the roof. You figure they could just like make entry, but then you also have this thing, which would be like, it looks like it's almost at like the right height to just go onto this level. But I guess they really need to get into that top floor. I don't know. They're just kind of hitting everything at once, which is good. Simultaneous attack. Yeah, by all means. This dude's like, hey, yo, I'm about to get a TBI. Let me turn away real quick. While this dude does... Okay, so what it looked like he had a Halligan tool. So a Halligan tool, generally speaking, is going to be to either defeat the hinges, defeat locks, or to pry the actual door open. You can turn it sideways and kind of use it as a ram. It's not that effective, especially on like bigger doors or heavier doors. But this dude, he uses it as a sledge almost. And if it is a sledge, cool. Not the right placement anyway, but he just kind of taps it open and then goes in there with it out. Like, I don't need a weapon, dude. If there's someone in there, they're taking this into their skull. Yeah, if you're the breacher, you would breach and then you'd drop the breaching tool and then kind of get your weapon out. And then you'd go at the end of the stack. So he kind of did that right, but he just was like, I'll use this. Again, there's so many things to look at. Okay, this dude, again, whatever, this might be kind of effective for what they're using it for, but this, if you see someone pulling a pin out with their teeth, they are either like a boot and they're trying to look cool, or they're just like cringe in general, trying to do it for like some sort of static display. But he's also doing a throw balaclava while he's like already in front of the window. Like, he can probably well see it, there's nothing in there, but he's pulling the pin with this balaclava on, and then he's looking back as well, so dropping security even more. He's like, hey, mom, watch this. This dude has an AK with looks like a laser, maybe like a PEC 15. I'm not even sure he can use his iron sights at that point. And I mean, I understand they have night vision, but it's definitely daytime. It looks like it's not going to be nighttime anytime soon. So that's probably just like, hey, we have night vision and we're trying to look cool. Put the night vision on. You know, again, with the elbow pads and knee pads as well, which are really that cool. And then it kind of looks like they just run in and point their guns wherever. But they were trying to take somebody hostage or rescue somebody, which was baffling considering they lit up that entire building with everything they had. And then they're all just coming back. How'd they even get onto that thing? I guess it just drove closer. Yeah, so looks like they could have just did that from the start. But now they're just piling onto it. These guys are... The shield is just like... The shield is just in the trunk. We can't even close it.
ندنس أرضنا
I
الطاهرة
mean, do what you gotta do,
نتعدى
make do, I
حدودنا.
guess, but it's still very, very funny to watch. Also, I don't think they have any plates in their body armor. Like, if I look at this, that is like conforming to his body a little bit too well. So he might have some soft armor in there. I'm gonna call some doubts on that as well. I also don't think they have any ear pro with their high cut helmets. So they're also, oh, they got like some infantry dudes supporting or something as well. So yeah, I think they also probably aren't hearing anything very well at this point. And I like how they're dedicated to like holding their weapon up. This dude's like, okay, I'm over it. But then this dude is like, you don't need your weapon up anymore, dude. You're like literally leaving. You're pointing this towards like civilian buildings. But yeah, he's like, I'm gonna keep this up while I'm holding on to this. Same thing with like this dude at the back of the Humvee. It was almost one of those videos where they're like on the back and they hit a bump and they just fly off. Oh my gosh, yeah, his plate's just reduced. Yeah, and that was it. Again,
واستقرارها.
I saw on Wikipedia it said that they trained with the Green Berets, but I'm like, I don't know. If the Green Berets saw them doing this, they'd be like, all right, let's start from scratch. First of all, let's figure out how to set up our weapons so we can like use our iron sights appropriately. Again, you might be able to still use the iron sights with that laser on. There's a potential that it was also a red dot sight. You know, putting a red dot sight on an AK handguard, whatever, it works totally fine. I've done it before as well. But I don't think that's what it was.
يحرق أرض العدو قبل أن يدنسوا أرضنا الطاهرة. تتعدى
He
حدودنا.
has, looks like he has a red dot sight. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, again, like the more you watch it, the more you just start seeing things where it's like, what is happening here? Like, what was the purpose of all of these things? This thing, especially the fast roping. That was a very interesting one for me. I mean, yeah, you can see the height. Like these dudes are like crouching and they're already like falling over it basically. Yes. So again, I don't like to watch videos where I'm just completely talking crap, but it is pretty fun. It's provides some comic relief to the channel every now and again. Again, just a lot of things happening. I understand these demonstrations, you're going to be doing a lot of things that are just kind of wild, just to look cool. And that's why we're just incorporating literally everything. But oh my gosh, even just like the fundamentals, like we're seeing some of those, yeah, kind of fall into the wayside. They were kind of just trying to send it, which, you know, a vibe if it was a movie. However, this is like their country's special forces. And if I saw Green Berets doing this, it wouldn't invoke a whole lot of confidence, personally. So yeah, Algerian special forces. One of y'all sent this my way. I don't know if you meant it as like, this is like the coolest thing ever, but I will be a little bit generous sometimes where I'm like, okay, that's kind of like cool. I haven't seen like tactics done like this, or I haven't seen equipment used like this, or I see things like, again, like this weird kind of setup frame where they're fast roping. I haven't really seen that so much. And again, in certain applications, it would definitely have its utility, but there are just some times where I am just seeing so much where we need to kind of pause it and, just ask some questions, I guess. Again, like a lot of this channel is kind of, you know, for educational kind of purposes, I guess, where we kind of learn together or just analyze things together. And again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things that you guys are picking up on that I missed. There might be some things that I, you know, we're commenting on and I don't even know, like a lot of times I just don't know what I'm talking about with certain things. Like I remember the Canadian military was kind of training and they were running through tires and I was like, that's kind of goofy. That's like something you do when you're in school for like an obstacle course. However, people were telling me like, it's Canada, the snow gets very deep, and that just kind of helps with kind of working their muscles and their legs to run through like, you know, deep snow. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes some sense. And, you know, I can kind of see the utility there once you describe it like that. So there are just some things that I'm seeing where I don't necessarily understand the utility just from kind of face value from my experience. So I do appreciate you guys when you can kind of like check me on it and say this is kind of why they're doing X, Y, and Z. But yeah, a lot of this video, there's a lot of things happening. These demos are always kind of fun to watch, but sometimes they just get insanely chaotic, and that's kind of what we saw here, which is kind of a vibe. But again, for like my country's special forces, I'd be like, if I didn't know any better, I'd be like, that's kind of badass. Like these guys, I would not want to mess with them, and I wouldn't want to mess with them anyway. I mean, they have like a lot going on, and even if I wasn't necessarily doing anything too bad, they'd be using their machine gun to turn my house into Swiss cheese, and I'm not trying to deal with that. So yeah, a lot of things happening in this video. Kind of a vibe, but also, what the hell. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, like, let me know what you guys are seeing, what you think. If there's anything that you want to recommend, any other videos with these guys or any sort of like real world operations that they took part in, like, let me know as well. And I'd like to check out those just so I can kind of like put some real world application to what these guys are doing or what tactics they're using or what equipment they have. It'd be kind of cool to make that connection. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. That is it for this video. I'll see you all in the next one.